Finish the story. Okay. Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about WrestleMania 39 Night 2, the Sunday edition of WrestleMania, the second night featuring the big match between Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. This is my review. I will dive into the show, every angle, every match, everything that happened throughout the show. We will get into that, but before we do, please hit subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below, and I will try and apply to every single one of them as we dive into one of probably the most polarizing nights of professional wrestling that we've had in years. Particularly that main event finish, which I have got thoughts on. The show overall, I'm going to be totally honest, I'm a bit nothing towards. I think this was a big step down from night one. Like, I enjoyed night one. I thought it was solid, but I was expecting potentially bigger and better things from this show. But in reality, there was a match of the year contender on here and not much else. And that sucks to say. That does suck to say. There was not a lot on here that grabbed me, so I don't want to be too negative in this one. But yeah, that's kind of just how I felt. So we're going to dive into the show with the opening, which was Jimmy Allen, who I do not know, singing America the Beautiful. Really good performance. Yeah, solid enough. Then go straight back into the action, straight into the video package with Kevin Hart, straight back into Snoop Dogg and The Miz doing their thing. And the opening match was Brock Lesnar taking on Amos in a match that, let's be honest, we all thought it was going to be this. This was exactly what we thought it was going to be. Amos hit a lot of scoop slams on Brock Lesnar. He outpowered Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was caught in a bear hug for what felt like an eternity. And Brock Lesnar overcame him, hit some German suplexes to a big pop from the crowd, hit an F5 and won. That was it. That was all that Brock Lesnar had to do at this WrestleMania, all that Amos had to do. No storyline developments, no hurt business, nothing. Another flat opening, in my opinion. I didn't think this was particularly good. It wasn't like egregiously bad like I thought the Bobby Lashley matches were at last year's, but it was just nothing. Like, I'd rather have seen Brock do something else than Amos. I think he could have sank his teeth into a bit more, but this was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Doesn't necessarily mean it was good, but it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. So yeah, flat way to open the show. Then we got the Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag Team match. The team of Raquel Gonzalez and Liv Morgan taking on Shotzi and Natalya, taking on Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, taking on, I've forgotten who the other team were, Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. This match I didn't think was terrible. It was a bit iffy in places. Some of the work was a bit sloppy, a bit jarring, but it wasn't, egregiously bad. It wasn't Shotzi versus Ronda, for instance, which was quite bad. This was just, again, another match that was there. I think the standouts for this was Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan hit some really cool code breakers. I think code breaker was the word of the match for Liv Morgan. Raquel Gonzalez was doing really cool power stuff. And to be fair, I know I just took a dig at Shotzi and Ronda, but I actually thought Shotzi looked quite good in this as well. But I like the story of just the MMA badasses standing on the outside, not doing anything, and then they come in and steal the win. Shayna hit a kick on, I think it was Natalya, maybe kicked Natalya out the ring, and then, yeah, Ronda locked in an armbar, tapped out Shotzi. That was the biggest action that they got. So yeah, I'm excited to see Shayna and Ronda go for the tag team titles. I think that'd be really interesting. But the match itself wasn't terrible, but again, not fantastic. So yeah, it is what it is. Then we got Bobby Lashley coming out with his big trophy, his big Andre the Giant memorial trophy, carrying his big trophy, and he just sort of stood on the ramp, just cheering and celebrating. I thought it was going to be an angle or something. I thought open challenge. As soon as he came out in the suit, I was like, oh, there is no Bobby Lashley open challenge. It's just Lashley coming out with his trophy to celebrate. Which again, I think Bobby Lashley probably deserves more, but another bit of underwhelming, aspects of the show. This first bit of the show was really underwhelming, and then it picked right back up with the Intercontinental Championship 3-way. Gunther taking on Sheamus, taking on Drew McIntyre. This match was fucking awesome. It was probably the best match of both nights. Easily one of the best matches of the weekend as a whole. And I absolutely loved it. I love this saga of Gunther and Sheamus. I love throwing Drew into the mix because Drew added a nice bit of drama there with his friendship with Sheamus. The near falls in this match were ungodly good. Sheamus's chest from all the slaps was horrible to look at. Horrible. There was a bit in the ring where Drew and Gunther were just trading chops back and forth, and it was beautiful chaos, beautiful carnage. These three work so well together, and it was ultimately the implosion of Drew and Sheamus that got the better of them. They were brawling, fighting in the ring, and Gunther, I think it was Sheamus. It was one of the way. One of them hit a Claymore, and one of them hit a bro kick. But Gunther splashed both of them, took advantage, powerbombed Sheamus onto Drew, and that's how he picked up the win, with a powerbomb onto Drew. Loved it. Sheamus didn't get pinned. I hope that goes forward. I hope we get more of that going forward. Clash at the Castle 2, run it back, and Sheamus finally gets the win over Gunther. Loved it. I think it was an absolutely phenomenal match. And another bit that I loved, I forgot to dive into this, was Drew costing Sheamus. He pulled Sheamus out when Sheamus was about to get the win on Gunther, and they had this stare down, which led to the big brawl between the two of them. This was just an adrenaline shot that this show needed. And I think this will be remembered as one of the best WrestleMania matches going forward. I love what Gunther's doing with the Intercontinental Championship. There's so many new contenders as well that you can bring in. You could potentially bring in Pete Dunne. You could bring up Tyler Bate. You could bring up Bron Breakker and have all these solid dream matches between Gunther with the Intercontinental Championship. He is just doing tremendous work. And this match was a chef's kiss piece of perfection on this show. Next match we got was for the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka taking on the champion Bianca Belair. Now, Bianca's on a bit of a streak. She's had banger after banger at WrestleMania. She had Sasha Banks, and then she had Becky, and now we're going to Asuka. I don't think this was the best of the three. If anything, I think it's the weakest. It was still really good, and there were some really cool moments in this. Asuka's new persona is really, really sick. I love the way she's almost like increased her speed. So she's doing all these jabs and kicks faster than she was before, locking in submissions faster. And she did this nice bit where she sprung up on the ropes and went round and hit a drop kick. And Bianca's just playing the strength, where she hit a huge sort of, what's the word? Deadlift powerbomb onto the floor on Asuka. I think that looked great. But I think the real issue with this match is it suffered from the build. Whereas I think Rhea and Charlotte managed to overcome that. This didn't necessarily overcome the poor build and the poor execution of the feud. It didn't give you anything to sink your teeth into. So when Bianca makes her comeback, yeah, it's cool, we like Bianca, but there was nothing there. There was nothing grabbing me, and she eventually won. Asuka had her in a submission. She was trying to get the armbar, and a great feat of strength from Bianca, hoisted her up, hit the KOD for the 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. I'm happy that Bianca's won. I really want them to continue Bianca's streak. I think it could be a new, Undertaker level streak of her being undefeated at WrestleMania, and that was my worry, because I quite like the mystique of a streak. I think that's really interesting to play with. But no, she picked up the win, and I'm happy for that. I wouldn't be surprised if she loses it in the very near future, though. So I thought I was tripping a little bit when this next segment happened. So Snoop Dogg and Miz are out there again, and I was like, they're announcing the attendance. Someone's going to come out. It's rinse, repeat what happened the previous night. And of all people who should come out But Shane McMahon comes down to the ring, seemingly sets up a match, the bell rings, and he tears his quad. During this match with Miz. He goes down injured. I think they said he tore his quad. It was something with his leg. And Snoop Dogg then takes over and sort of clocks the Miz and beats the Miz in what was a sincere waste of time and utter nonsense and just bizarre. Really bizarre. This felt like I don't understand why Triple H would do this. Like, it seems like a very odd booking thing to do the same thing both nights. I don't know if it was supposed to be played up for comedy in that regard, but it didn't land. It's nice to see Shane back. I like Shane, but he's injured now, so we won't be seeing much of Shane on TV or anything like that. Very odd, very baffling. Kind of blew my mind that this actually happened. The penultimate match was the Hell in a Cell match between Edge and the Demon Finn Balor. Edge's entrance, I will say, was cool. It hit me, okay? It hit me. The big wings and everything like that was cool. The skull, though, and this is a bit of a niche reference, did it not look like the skull from the original Scooby-Doo 2003 Freddie Prinze Jr. film? The one that they pull down and it reflects and it gets all the monsters to explode? No? Just me? Okay, that's the vibe that I got from it. And then Demon Finn Balor looked cool as well. I think for a Hell in a Cell match, this was good, but nothing spectacular. It had a few spectacular spots in it, like Finn hitting the coup de grace through the table. That was cool. It didn't look like it hurt his knees maybe when he went through. But yeah, he hit it off this. There was a little platform in the cell, and Finn jumps off to hit Edge with the coup de grace, but Edge rolls out of the way, and Edge hits a spear for the win. There were a few tables, but I like that the cell's not red anymore. I can't remember if it was red last Hell in a Cell match that they had. I feel like the Cody one was, but have they had one since? That's the question. I can't remember. I feel like it was red. I could be wrong. But no, some of the weapons were coloured. That was a bit odd. The kendo stick was like Judgment Day purple, and the chair that Edge pulled out was red. Very confusing. But the in-ring stuff was fine enough. Edge winning was a bit baffling. I thought Edge has won a lot. I thought maybe Edge would let Finn have this, put over Finn in that regard, but no, Edge hits concerto on Finn for the win. And yeah, it's another person who's beaten the demon. The demon's mystique slowly being chipped away as it gets beaten and beaten and beaten. This was fine, borderline fine. And yeah, it wasn't as egregiously self-indulgent as I thought it'd be, which was a good thing. Then we got the inductees for the Hall of Fame coming out. They all looked good. It was all good. Pomp and circumstance. We love all that. It was a nice celebration, that kind of thing. Then we got the main event. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. What will go down in history as one of the most polarizing, bizarre... Because no one's talking about the match. No one's talking about the match. I have issues with the match, but no one's talking about the match. Everyone's talking about the fact that Roman Reigns defeated Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. His reign continues. Was that a good decision? And it's hard. It's hard. We haven't seen what's going to happen on Raw. But for me, where I find the issue is that this was the perfect ending. In the match, I saw the perfect ending. The perfect ending for me was when Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn ran down, chased away the Usos. Kevin Owens hit a stunner. Sami hit a haluva kick. At that moment, Cody should have hit a crossroads. 1, 2, 3. All the people in recent months that Roman has wronged, they get their comeuppance. 1, 2, 3. Cody's the champ. They're the champ. Perfect ending. They all celebrate in the ring together. It doesn't matter if the odds are stacked against Roman because he's just had Solo Sikoa and the Usos interfere. I think that works, and it works as like the cathartic, the good guys win. We all vanquish this bad guy together kind of thing. But instead, I think what they did really made Cody look like an idiot. And I do think that why didn't, after all the time that we've seen Roman have interference, why were people not down there with Cody? I get you can't have Dustin. I get that. But why weren't Sami and KO down there from the outset? Why weren't people from the Nightmare Factory down there from the outset, stopping people getting involved? It just didn't come across as smart. It's like he was expecting Solo Sikoa to not do anything. Another issue I have with it is there was no character development from the previous night. Roman didn't come out looking, like he's putting on a mask. He's putting on a face. He's not worried. He came out the exact same he usually does, with the overconfidence, the overexuberance, and that just felt like a step back. And the finish itself, so Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens run down, chase away the Usos who'd already stopped Cody from winning, because guess what? There was a ref bump in this match. A Roman Reigns match. There was a ref bump. And Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn chase off the Usos. Solo Sikoa has already been ejected from ringside, but he comes back down through the crowd in a hoodie, hits a Samoan spike on Cody, Roman hits a spear and wins. And it was so deflating. And I think I'm done. I'm done with Roman. I was really, really done with Roman. And now I'm even more done with Roman. Because just where do you go from here? I've been looking at the calendar. So we've got Backlash. Then you got Money in the Bank. Then you got Backlash. I think you've got King of the Ring. Then you've got Money in the Bank. Then you've got SummerSlam. Do I see him having a match at any of those shows other than SummerSlam? I don't see him having a match at Backlash. I don't really see him having a match at King of the Ring because that'll be taken up by the tournament. Don't really see him having a match at Money in the Bank because why would he? I mean, that's maybe Money in the Bank is when we get a rematch with Cody, but do I want to see it? He's won. Roman won, and I think this is just really damaging. I'm not angry about it. I'm just tired. I'm just so tired because why on earth would we get excited for another Roman Reigns match? Which is another issue I have. Okay, it feels like I'm ragging on this main event, which I am, but I love Cody. But this was the cookie cutter formula for a Roman Reigns match, and it totally, for me, exposed that I don't want this anymore. I don't want Roman working the majority of the match. The babyface gets one spot of offense in, has a little bit of a comeback, Roman shuts it down, Uso interference, ref bump, Solo Sikoa interference, big hope spot for the babyface, hits finisher, 1-2, very near kick out. Roman gets the upper hand, a little bit more interference when the ref's not looking, spear, 1-2-3. It just fully exposed Roman's formula for his matches, and I cannot bear another one. Because why would I? We've had it for, 3 years at this point? And it's the same formula again and again and again. So I think, like a lot of people, I'm just done with Roman, regardless of what happens with the bloodline. If he'd have lost the belts, then I'd be more on board, because the main event scene is not being taken up by someone who's never really there and doesn't fully defend them. So it's just perplexing. The match was good for what it was, but it's no different from the Sami Zayn match, the Drew McIntyre match, the John Cena match, all of them. It's just, they all sort of blend together. And yeah, it was a real sour note to end on. So I'm just unsure of the future now. I'll give you a little bit of fantasy booking. I think potentially on Raw tonight, they will announce a new title, and the winner of the King of the Ring tournament will win that title, and that'll be the Raw title, because I just don't see the benefit now of having just Roman, and I don't know who's going to beat him. I really don't. It could be they've run out of challengers. It's like I said in my YouTube short that you can check out on my channel. He has beaten nearly 50% of the male roster on this card. He's beaten John Cena, he's beaten Edge, he's beaten Finn Balor, he's beaten Seth, he's beaten Logan Paul, he's beaten Cody, he's beaten Sami Zayn, he's beaten Jey Uso, he's beaten Kevin Owens, he's beaten Drew, he's beaten Sheamus, he's beaten Braun. That's like 50% of this entire 2-night event have already been beaten by the Tribal Chief, which just puts him at too high of a level. It's not fallible anymore. There's no weakness to him, which is it's just an issue. It's a big issue, and this is going to be a big talking point going forward as I round off the show. But this show overall I thought was severely underwhelming, is the best way I can put it. I was really underwhelmed by night 2 of WrestleMania. Apart from that huge peak of the Intercontinental Championship match, this just did not hit the mark for me, which is why I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. Really disappointed in night 2, considering I was so hyped for it going in. But yeah, 2 out of 5. Might be controversial, but that's what I've got to say. That's my thoughts. That's my review. And I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Did you like the show? Did you hate it? Let me know everything you want about the show down in the comments, and I'll try and reply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.